Hi everyone! Welcome to my channel, Tutorial by SiRymon. My name is Mr. Jem Raimonis Chen, Master Teacher 2 from Escalante Central Elementary School, Schools Division of Escalante City, DepEd Region 6, Western Visayas. Click like and share if this video tutorial helps you. Don't forget to click subscribe below to keep updated for my future tutorial. For your suggestions, especially on the topic for my next tutorial, please leave your comment below. Hope you learned something in my video lessons for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay home and stay safe.
Go forth, rise and shine to us all. Escalante Central Elementary School. You've entrusted us your vision. Building your dreams would be our mission.
Have a nice day, grade 6. How are you doing? I hope everybody is fine and safe. Welcome to our Science 6 class. This time class, we are now on our week 2 for our quarter 3 for your Science 6 for school year 2020-2021. And what will we do for this week? We will check first your assessment that you took last week about friction. And after checking, we will discuss your third learning activity sheet, and that is all about gravity. Now, please get your notebook. Let us check first your assessment about friction. Please get it now. I told you last time to copy your answer in your assessment that you took last week in your notebook because, as we usually do, we will check first your assessment before we proceed to our next lesson. Number 1. The force that acts in the opposite direction of motion when two surfaces come in contact. A. Force, B. Friction, C. Static, or letter D. Kinetic. The correct answer for number 1 is yes, friction is the force that acts in the opposite direction of motion. Number 2. Friction is a force that acts in an blank direction of movement. A. Similar, B. Opposite, C. Parallel, or letter D. West. Okay, this is your clue. Okay, this is the direction of the force and this is the direction of the friction. So what can you say about their directions? Friction acts as an opposite direction. So the correct answer for number 2 is letter B, opposite. Number 3. How does friction affect speed? A. More friction decreases speed. B. More friction increases speed. C. Less friction decreases speed. Or letter D. None of this. The correct answer is letter A. The more friction decreases speed. Ang friction ang dahilan kung bakit humihina or humihinto ang isang bagay. Number 4. What does friction produce? A. Light, B. Sound, C. Heat, or letter D. Gravity. The correct answer is letter C. Friction produces heat. Number 5. Which of these materials do you predict would have the most amount of friction? A. Metal, B. Tile, C. Sandpaper, or letter D. Denim. What do you think? So let me give you a hint. This one. What do you call this one? Yes, that's sandpaper. Among all these given materials, the most amount of friction is in the use of sandpaper. Which of these is an example of undesirable effect of friction? A. Keeping our balance, B. Forest fire, C. Running on the street, or letter D. Writing in notebook. Undesirable effect or harmful effect of friction. Take note, friction produces heat. And heat will? Yes, will eventually cause fire. So, the correct answer for number 6 is letter B. Forest fire. Number 7. Rougher surface have A. Greater friction, B. Less friction, C. Same level of friction, or letter D. All these are correct. The correct answer is letter A. Greater friction. Kung mas magaspang ang surface ng isang bagay, mas maraming friction nito. Gaya na lamang ng example natin kanina na sandpaper. The surface of the sandpaper is rough, right? Number 8. Which of the following is an example of friction that is helpful? A. Brakes used on a bike. B. Tires from a car on the road. C. Tread on the bottom of your shoes. Letter D. All are examples that are helpful. The correct answer is yes, all these are correct. The brake can cause friction, right? But it is beneficial. Kung mga sasakyan natin walang mga brake, so makakasanhi ito ng aksidente. Letter C, thread on your bottom of your shoes. Yung mga thread ng sapatos mo, yung mga spike ng sapatos mo, nakakatulong ito para hindi ka madulas. The correct answer for number 8 is letter D. Number 9. How can friction be reduced? A. Reduce the force acting between the two surfaces. B. Reduce the roughness of the two surfaces coming in contact. C. Use wax, grease, or oil. D. All of the above are ways of reducing friction. What is the answer? Yes, it's letter D. All these are correct. Reduce the force, reduce the roughness, and you use lubricants. These are ways in reducing friction. Number 10. You use blank friction when you leave marks on paper with a pencil or lead. A. Static friction, B. Sliding friction, C. Rolling friction, or letter D. None of this. When you are writing using your pencil in a piece of paper, what kind of force is that? Or what kind of friction are you using? Yes, that's sliding friction. Now, count your score. Now, what's your score? I hope you got a very good score on our assessment last week. And we will now discuss your learning activity sheet number 3, and this is about gravity. What can you say about these illustrations, class? Yes, the kids are holding ball. What if they will throw this ball on air? What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen to the ball after throwing it up in the air? Yes, you're right. When you throw a ball up into the air, the ball comes back to you eventually, or to the surface of the earth. Just like you see here on the screen, the ball will eventually goes down to the ground. The same also what happens to the fruit here on the tree. The fruit falls in the ground. The same also what happens when you are jumping in the trampoline. Have you experienced it? You always go down, right? But the question is, why? Why everything that goes up will eventually goes down? You know what, class? This is made possible because of gravity. Gravity is one of the wonderful forces in the universe. Would you like to know more about the force called gravity? And our objective for this week is to infer how gravity affects the movements of the different objects. Let us perform first the first activity in your learning activity sheet number 3. And this activity is entitled The Fall. This activity will be able to describe what is a gravity. What materials you need for the activity? You just need any handy objects available at home. Example, ball. Or if not, if you don't have ball there, you may have your notebook. Or a small stone. Or crumpled paper. You just choose one, class, okay? So again, you need any handy objects like stone, ball, notebook, or even a crumpled paper. You only need one of these materials you see here on the screen. Yung mga magaan lang na mga materials ang pwedeng gamitin dito. Huwag na yung mga materials na mabibigat. Now, do you have with you your material, class, for the activity? Very good. Now, again, the instruction is to get any handy objects near you. I assume that you have already your materials there. No? You are holding with the material already. Raise the object at a certain height. Itaas lang yung material na hinahawakan mo ngayon. Just like here, you see on the screen. Itaas mo lang. Okay? After that, quickly remove your hand, leaving the object on the top. And you have to observe what happens to the object. Bitiwan mo. Bitiwan mo yung object at i-observe mo ano ang mangyayari sa object pagkatapos mong bitawan. Ang susunod mong gagawin, using the same object, throw it upward as shown in the figure and observe what happens to the object. Diba kanina binitawan mo lang yung object. Ngayon naman, kapareho pa rin ang object, ihagis mo yung object pataas. Just like you see here on the screen. And then, i-observe mo pa rin ano ang mangyayari sa object na hinagis mo pataas. Okay? Are you done? Now, let's answer these questions based on the activity you've just conducted earlier. In figure 1, what happened to the object when the hand was removed? Yung itinaas mo lang yung bola or yung object na hinahawakan mo at binitiwan mo lang. Anong nangyari? Anong nangyari sa object? Yes, very good. When the hand was removed, the ball fell to the ground. You notice, the ball goes down after you remove your hand on it, right? Question number 2. In figure 2, what happened to the object after it was thrown upward? Yung hinagis mo na yung bola pataas. Ano ang na-observe mo sa bola? Yes, very good. When the ball was thrown upward, it fell again to the ground. Let's have question number 3. Based on figures 1 and 2, what common thing happened to the object? Yes, you're correct. When the hand was removed while holding the ball, or the ball was thrown upward, the ball fell to the ground. Binitawan mo or hinagis mo yung bola pataas. Yung bola nahulog pa din sa lupa. Number 4. Why did the object behave that way? Ano kaya yung dahilan kung bakit hinagis mo na yung bola pataas, kahit binitawan mo lang yung bola o yung object still fell in the ground? Yes, you're correct. The ball falls or the object falls to the ground because the gravity pulls it downward. Yung dahilan, bakit yung bola o yung object pupunta sa ground or sa lupa or bumaba sa ground or sa lupa, ang dahilan niyan ay ang gravity. Based on your activity earlier, can you now describe gravity? Yes, of course. Now, what is gravity? Yes, gravity is a force, just like friction that we discussed last time. Yes, very good. Gravity is a force that pulls all objects downward. When we say downward, gravity pulls the object to the surface of the earth. Lahat ng mga bagay na nasa taas or itinapon mo pataas, bababa at mahuhulog ito sa earth or sa surface sa earth o sa lupa. In the activity that you've done earlier, Whether the object is dropped, binitawan mo lang, or thrown upward, hinagis mo pataas, the object tends to go back to the ground. Babalik at babalik ang object na hinagis mo, na binitawan mo, sa lupa or sa surface of the earth. There is a force that pulls it towards the ground or the surface of the earth. Again, that force is called gravity. And this gravity is also known as gravitational force. Again, class, gravity is a force that pulls all objects towards the ground, just like you see here on the screen. The fruit from the tree falls in the ground because the gravity pulls the fruit towards the ground. Not only the fruit, not only the ball, but anything, including human, including us. The gravity pulls us in the ground. And without gravity, class, there will be no life on earth. Walang mabubuhay dito sa mundo kung wala ang gravity. Why? Why do you think will happen if earth has no gravity? What will happen to us? Yes, there will be no water. Also, there will be no air. And there will be no plants and animals that can live in earth without that gravity. Because anything or everything on earth will be floating out in the space. Lahat tayo, lahat ng mga bagay dito sa mundo, kung wala ang gravity, lulutang at lulutang tayong lahat. Can you imagine the water flows out in the space? Yan yung mangyayari kung wala ang gravity na humihila sa atin towards the center of the earth. Kaya importante ang gravity o ang puwersa na humihila sa atin pababa ng earth. Para lalo pa ninyong maintindihan kung ano ang gravity na tinutukoy ko, let's have this. Think of a gravity like an invisible massive superglue that holds our world together. Yes, you cannot see it, but it is always there. Sa madaling salita, class, yung gravity para palang isang pandikit. Lahat ng mga bagay dito sa mundo, dinidikit ng gravity sa earth para hindi ito lumutang o hindi tayo palutang-lutang. Kaya kahit hindi natin ito nakikita, pero ramdam natin na mayroong gravity na present dito sa earth na tinitirhan natin. When we say gravity pulls the object down, we literally mean gravity pulls the object towards the earth. So, kung sasabihin natin ang gravity pulls down the object, ang ibig sabihin natin ng pulls down, class, is hinihila ng gravity ang lahat ng mga object na nasa itaas, pababa nito, or towards it, patungo sa earth, since the earth is round in shape. Just like here you see on the screen. Yung ibaba ng babaeng ito ay iba ng ibaba ng taong na andito. Right? Because we are located and we are living in the different parts of the earth. We are not expecting na pareho yung down na direction natin. Ang down sa kanya, iba sa kanya. So, ang ibig sabihin, kapag sinabi natin gravity pulls down the object, ang object hinihila ng earth patungo sa ground. Just like here. The girl here is bouncing the ball in this direction, but the gravity pulls the object, the ball, going this direction. But the boy here, when the boy bounced the ball, the direction of the ball is going here. The gravity pulls all objects towards the center of the earth. Sino ang unang nag-introduce ng idea tungkol sa gravity? It was Sir Isaac Newton, an English scientist, who first discovered the principle of gravity. There was a famous story about him. Supposedly, Sir Isaac Newton was hanging out under an apple tree, thinking and partly napping. Then an apple fell and hit him on the head. Sir Isaac Newton was curious. Why did the apple fall down to the ground and not up and not sideways? Bakit nahulog yung apple pababa at hindi pataas at hindi sa kanan niya or pakaliwa? Since then, class, Sir Isaac Newton realized that there is this special kind of force acted in all objects on Earth, and that we call now as gravity. And this gravity acted all objects on Earth, and gravity pulls all the objects towards it. No matter how light or heavy the object is, maybe a feather, a leaf, or a bowling ball, all these objects will go down to the ground. Kahit anong bigat ng mga objects na yan, mabalahibo man yan, maging hibla ng buhok mo, maging bowling ball ba yan, maging dahon pa yan, lahat ng mga bagay falls down to the ground. And Sir Isaac Newton concluded that because of gravity, what comes up must come down. Lahat ng nasa itaas, bababa at bababayan sa Earth. And that is because of gravity. Kahit saan pa natin itapon yung bola, pataas ba? O kahit itapon mo yan pababa? Kahit itapon mo pa yan pakaliwa mo? O itapon mo yan sa kanan mo? The ball will go down to the surface of the Earth. And that is because of gravity. Because gravity again will pull the ball down to the Earth kahit na anong mangyari. It is the gravity why all things on Earth and in the universe as a whole in order. Ang gravity ang dahilan kung bakit nasa order lahat ang mga bagay dito sa mundo at sa universe in general. The cars, water in the ocean, the rocks, the houses, even the tables, the chairs, the plates, the appliances, and other things stayed on place because of gravity. All these things do not float away because of gravity. Ang dahilan kung bakit hindi lumulutang at nagpapalutang-lutang lahat ng bagay na ito dahil sa gravity. Ang gravity din ang dahilan kung bakit lahat ng mga planeta umiikot o nagre-revolve around the sun. Dahil may gravity din ang sun. Also, yung mga satellites o ang mga moons ng mga bawat planeta, ang dahilan din kung bakit ito hindi umaalis at nagre-revolve din around the planet, that is because of the gravity. I hope it is now clear to you how important gravity is. Now this time, let us find out what are the differences between mass and weight. We need to differentiate these two terms because these are two factors that affect also gravity. Ano kaya ang pagkakaiba ng mass sa weight? Most of us think that mass and weight are two the same things. But no, they are not the same. Hindi pareho ang weight at saka yung mass. Akala lang natin nung una na parehas lang yung mass at saka weight. Now, to fully understand these terms better, let's take this example. Now, mass is the measure of how much matter there is an object. And the weight is the measure of the pulling force of gravity on an object. Now, sa madaling salita, class, ang mass ay tumutukoy sa dami ng mga atoms natin sa katawan o napapaloob sa isang bagay. Ito ay constant o hindi nagbabago-bago. kahit saan ka pa nakapwesto, saan ka pa naroroon, ang mass ng isang tao o ang isang bagay ay hindi nagbabago-bago. Kasi nga, ito ay tumutukoy sa dami ng mga atoms mo sa katawan o mga atoms na bumubuo sa isang bagay. Kaya hindi ito nagbabago-bago. Hindi katulad ng mass, ang weight naman ay hindi constant. Sa madaling salita, dumedepende ang bigat ng isang bagay o tao sa lugar na kung saan siya naroroon. Ang weight nakadepende sa layo ng isang bagay o tao sa sentro ng gravity. Kaya nga, mas magaan ang isang bagay o ang tao sa outer space kaysa dito sa Earth. Kahit magaan ang isang tao sa labas ng Earth, ang kanyang mass ay hindi nagbabago-bago. Ganon pa rin karami ang atoms na bumubuo sa isang bagay o sa isang tao kahit nandun siya sa labas ng Earth. Again, ang mass ay hindi nagbabago-bago at ang iyong weight naman, yun ang nagbabago-bago depende sa kung saan ka lugar naroroon. I know parang nalilito pa kayo as of the moment. As I give you more examples later on, I hope you could now really understand the difference between mass and weight. Now, for you to understand better the meaning of mass, let's consider this illustration. So again, mass is the amount of matter present in the object. So let's take the same object in two different places. Yung isa nasa Earth, yung isa nasa Moon. Pero parehong object lang to. Will the mass be different? Magkakaiba ba yung mass nila? O will the amount of matter in the object be different? Mababawasan ba yung amount of matter? Hindi. The mass will stay the same in two different places. The mass of the object will stay the same no matter where it is placed. Kahit nasa Earth pa man yan, kahit nasa Moon, ilagay ang isang bagay, pareho pa din ang amount ng kanilang atoms sa kanilang katawan. Understand? Now, the unit of mass that we use is, as you all know, is in kilograms. How about weight? What is weight again? Let's take this example. Weight is the measure of the gravitational pull on an object. Halimbawa, may dalawa tayong lugar dito. Let's have two places. Place A and place B. Place A will be at the Moon and place B is on Earth. The pull of gravity in place A is X unit, while in place B is 2 times the gravity of place A, which is in the Moon. Obviously, the pull of gravity in place B is stronger than in place A. Mas malakas yung gravity na nasa place B compared sa place A na nasa Moon. Mas less yung weight doon ng isang bagay ikumparar mo dito sa place B. What can you say about the mass of the object? Ano ang masasabi mo sa mass ng object na nasa place A at saka sa place B? What have you observed? Or what can you say about the mass? Yes, you're correct. The mass of the object in two places is the same. Pareho lang yung mass or ang amount ng atom ng object kahit saan pa siya naroroon. Pero, ang weight ng object ng the same object na to ay nagkakaiba na dahil sa kanilang lugar. Ang weight ang nagkakaiba at hindi yung mass. Same yung mass pero yung weight ang different or nagkaiba dahil mas malakas ang gravity ng nasa place B, example here sa Earth, kaysa sa Moon na mas mahina yung gravity, kaya yung weight ng object na to na nasa place A is lesser compared to the mass of the object in the place B. Malinaw na ba, class? Okay, very good. Why is it that the weight of an object in the moon is only 1/6 its weight on Earth? Bakit 1/6 lang ang weight mo doon sa moon kumpara mo dito sa Earth? Yes, because it's something to do with the size of the moon compared to planet Earth. The mass of the moon is smaller than the Earth. Mas marami yung atoms ng Earth i-compared mo doon sa mass ng moon. As a result, the gravitational attraction of the moon is only 1/6 that of the Earth. The moon's gravitational force is determined by the mass and the size of the moon. Ang gravitational pull ng moon nagre-rely lang sa kaano siya kalaki at yung mass niya. The weight of an object of the moon again is only 1/6 its weight on the Earth. The moon is far less massive than the Earth and has a different radius also. Example, if you are here on Earth, your mass is 120 kilograms. But your weight here is, of course, 120 Newton. Now, but if you travel in the moon, your mass will still be the same. That's 120 kilogram, but your weight there will become less. That is only 1/6 of your weight in Earth compared to the moon. If you are in the moon, you will only weigh 20 Newton. Paano yan nangyari? Yung 120 kilogram mo, i-divide yan sa 6 because 1/6 nga lang yung equivalent ang weight mo sa moon compared sa Earth. So again, 120 divided by 6, that will give you 20 Newton. Your weight in the moon is only 20 Newton, but your weight here on Earth is 120. So take note, your mass is 120, your mass in the moon is 120, and your mass on Earth is still 120. But your weight in the moon is different now with your weight in the Earth. Your weight in Earth is 120 Newton, but you weigh less in the moon, which is only 20 Newton. All things caught in our planet's gravity will, in some way, have the potential to fall to the Earth. Take note, the objects falls differently, right? Like when dropping a ball and a piece of paper. You would say that the book will fall on the ground faster than the paper, right? Why do things seem to fall at the different speeds on Earth? It's something to do with the mass. A mass again is a measure of how much matter is in an object. And also, it's something to do with the weight. Again, weight means the measure of how heavy an object is caused by gravity pulling on that particular object. When gravity pulls an object, it gives you the object's weight. Example, what if you drop a feather and a hammer in the ground? What object will fall on the ground faster? Let's take a look with this example. Let's consider two different situations in answering the questions I raised earlier. If you drop these two objects in the vacuum, when we say vacuum, class, a place where no air, no atmosphere, just like the outer space. If you drop the hammer and the feather in a vacuum with no air, no atmosphere, would you believe that these two objects will fall at the same time? Yes, they will fall at the same time when you drop this object in the vacuum. But if you drop these two objects in the presence of the air, like here on Earth, then the hammer will for sure fall in the ground first than the feather. Now, paano ito nangyari? Actually, class, someone had performed this kind of experiment in the moon way back in 1971. David Randolph Scott performed this experiment, dropping the hammer and the feather in the moon. Scott dropped the feather and the hammer at the same height and at the same time. How can that be? Since here on Earth, the feather will take some time before it falls to the ground. What does the Earth have? The moon does not. Ano ang nasa Earth na wala sa moon? It is the atmosphere. The Earth has atmosphere. The Earth has different layers of air, and the moon doesn't have this. The gases that make up the Earth's atmosphere push against objects as they fall. And this results to air resistance. This air resistance is the friction between the air and a moving object. On Earth, class, feather has more air resistance compared to the hammer. This makes it fall slowly towards the ground. Since the moon almost has no resistance, the two fell and at the same time. Let's see this video clip for you to understand it better. This is what happens in the Earth. It has more air resistance. And this is what happens in the moon with almost no air resistance. The hammer and the feather fell and at the same time in the moon. It's the resistance of the air, class, pushing against objects that really affects how fast objects fall. Now let's have this simple experiment. Now please get a piece of paper and a crumpled paper, just like you see here on the screen. Please get it now. Now, do you have with you your piece of papers, class? Very good. Take note that this paper has the same mass. Pareho lang yung mass ng dalawang object na to. Now, we will drop the same pieces of paper in the same height. Okay? We will drop these papers together and at the same time. Okay, let us see what happens. Let's drop it now. What kind of paper fell faster in the ground? You notice that the crumpled paper fell in the ground faster than the flat piece of paper, considering they have the same mass. This again proves that object shape affects its movement. Take note, the two pieces of papers, the crumpled one and the plain paper, have the same mass. And it's the air resistance makes the flat paper seem to fall more slowly than the crumpled paper. Now, based on our experiment earlier, objects appear to fall at different rates, not because they have different masses or weights, but because of air resistance. You remember this, class? On Earth, gravity pulls all objects to the Earth's center. This means that gravity acts all masses equally, even though the effects on both masses may be different because gravity causes all objects and at the same constant rate. An object in free fall means that only force acting on an object is the gravity. Let's have this practice exercise. Say true if the statement is correct and false if it is incorrect. Number 1. All objects fall towards the center of the Earth. True or false? Yes, very good. It's true. Number 2, gravity is the force that attracts and pulls object to the Earth's surface. The answer is very good, true. Number 3, gravitational force pulls all things downward. True or false? Yes, true. Number 4, objects remain on air when it is thrown upward. True or false? Yes, it is false because the object will go downward even if you throw it upward. Number 5, gravity only affects solid objects. True or false? It's false because gravity will affect all objects, especially here on Earth. What is gravity again, class? Yes, correct. Gravity is the force that pulls objects towards the ground. How would life be without gravity? Ano kayang mangyayari kung walang gravity? Yes, nasabi ko na yan kanina. Very good. If there is no gravity, there will be no order on Earth. All things found on Earth, including water, will not stay in place. Meaning, everything, no matter how big it is, how small it is, will float and eventually, and there will be a tendency that will be colliding each other without gravity. See what happens without gravity? It is the gravity that will put all these objects in place. And if there is no gravity, then everything will float. Just like you see here on the screen. Lulutang lahat ng bagay kung wala ang gravity. What have you learned in our lesson for this week? Please get your 1/4 sheet of paper. And let's have your assessment about gravity. Let's assess what have you learned about our lesson for this week. Please get it now. Now, do you have with you your 1/4 sheet of paper? Okay, now, direction. Read each item carefully. Write the letter of the correct answer in your answer sheet. Again, write only the letter of your answer in your answer sheet there. Is that clear? I will give you 3 minutes to finish your assessment. Your time starts now. And this is the coverage of our first summative test for next week. Please copy this one also. This is about friction and gravity. And this is the first summative test for this grading period. Please copy this also. If you want to watch the video lessons of Escalante Central Elementary School, you can visit our official website www.ss.info. These video lessons are from kinder to grade 6. Please do tune in to our RBI instructions or radio-based instructions in all subject areas from Monday to Friday. Please do watch also the TV-based instructions of Department of Education that is aired in channel IBC. If you missed the TV-based instructions in IBC 13, you can watch it again in YouTube. Just subscribe DepEd TV on YouTube to keep updated on all the TV-based instructions of DepEd. If you have questions about our lesson, please do contact me during our offline and online kamustahan every Wednesday, 2:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. If you want to watch and access again all my video lessons in science class, please do visit my YouTube channel. If you want, please subscribe my channel to keep updated in all my video lessons. Actually, I am uploading in advance the video lesson for the following week. No? So at least advance na ka, no, in case you will subscribe to my channel. Again, subscribe Teacher Jem Raymond Chin, or you may search tutorial by Sir Raymond. Okay? Thank you so much. That's all for this week, class. Thank you so much for participating. Have a blessed week ahead. See you next week. Don't forget to stay home and be safe always.
Go forth, rise and shine.